It's important for the game.
Why me? Why not him?
I'm using this for, other things.
About time, man.
I hope it's not in my water. No. Can I move now?
Hi everybody and welcome to A Round of Gwent. My name's Ash and I'm joined by Pavel Burza.
Hey guys.
And today we're going to be introducing the very first episode in A Round of Gwent, the show where we're going to be discussing everything from decks, factions, changes to the game and how the game has evolved. So today we have two of the developers of Gwent. We have Raphael and David, and we're going to be discussing how Gwent has evolved from a mini-game within The Witcher 3 to the standalone game which you guys are able to play today.
And also we'll be showing some cool community creations in the community corner. Community corner. So yeah, wait for that.
So first things first, we wanted to discuss how the game Gwent has evolved over the last few months, from its position within The Witcher 3 into the standalone game which you guys are able to play today. So we thought we would talk with Raphael, who's here today, to discuss this evolution and how the game has progressed over time.
So basically, what we really wanted for every aspect of Witcher 3 is to make it better, right? We want to improve on the formula that we had for Witcher 2, and we thought we did that with many things when we were already, in development. Oh, that's yours.
About time, man.
And we wanted something for the mini games as well. So obviously we had Dice Poker at that time, but me and Damien Monnier, we had this idea because we were really into card games at that time. So me and Damien, we actually went to Adam Badowski, the head of our studio, and asked him if it's maybe possible that we might do a card game. And he said, guys, that's crazy because already everybody's so slammed.
Wrong, Mark.
Oh.
I'm using this for, other things.
Okay. I don't want to know what he uses it for though.
Yeah, well, basically what happened, he said like it's not possible to do it ourselves because we don't have designers that are experienced in doing card games. But I said to him, what if we would go to outside people to maybe get the core idea and then maybe we can get it going from that point. And he said, okay, you can explore this idea, but let's make it quick. So, we can either said yay, nay, fairly quickly. So it wasn't that quick, so it took us a little bit of time. I think it took us something around 6 to 7 months to figure out different prototypes from different people, and none of them actually worked that great, to be very honest. But we settled on a final prototype. We weren't super happy about it, but we said like, let's follow this through. Maybe we're just maybe not getting it. So we went to Adam, showed to him, and he said like, yeah, it doesn't work. We're like, yeah, okay, fine. But Damien, there was like had a panic attack. He was like, no, we'll do it. And I'm like, no, okay, what? And he's like, no, we'll do it. You already kind of know what we want to do. It's fine. And Anna was like, that's not true, is it?
He called your bluff.
Yeah. And he said, no, we can do it. I said, okay. Today is Friday, you have time until Monday, show me a prototype. And we were like, okay, we'll do that. And we step out of the room, and we were really scared.
Yeah. So people believe that the original idea for Gwent came from this epiphany which occurred to either yourself or Damien or both when in the bathtub.
Yeah,
but,
there's a few things that I need to debunk here, just right off the bat.
The back to the bathtub.
Yeah, the first thing was like, Damien was in a bathtub, I wasn't. So that's the first thing. We were on the phone, actually. I was in my home and he was in the bathtub. We knew what we wanted, so in the 2 days we kind of settled of what we're going to bring to that first prototype, and those were just simple trump cards with post-its on them. We're just we just went with those to show it to Adam, and the bathtub happened in a way that we actually settled of what we want to show in that specific conversation when it happened, which is a huge simplification of the whole idea in that specific way. And there was many things that inspired obviously the process in many ways, because you never are sheltered in that way. And we love card games.
So
And-
did you base Gwent and how it developed off of any other previous games? Did you take any inspiration?
Sure, we obviously did. You never live in a vacuum, right? There's many things that inspire you, and there's like a few honorable mentions. So, for example, the simplest one that we did for that specific one was the Game of War, right? Because you put one card, it either is higher or lower, and you win that round. And that's kind of like the basic of things. There's a small board game, Condottiere, which is for me one of my personally favorite board games.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's really awesome, and you play as a mercenary and fighting for spaces in Italy. That's really cool. Then we have card games like Netrunner, for example, where for Netrunner me and Damon at that time were super into Netrunner. We were playing a lot, and so those things obviously were kind of big inspirations.
It's amazing to see all the sources that you've drawn the inspiration from and how they're still, very key features about Gwent, such as the leader cards and the different archetypes. So that's cool to see that they were there right from the beginning.
Yeah, because as I mentioned, this is how we were never in the shelter, and always different things influence us in a big way. But yeah, we fought Gwent just to be as fun and simple as possible at that time, and obviously there's different challenges with that afterwards, which we'll discuss later.
It's simple in theory, but in practice it's harder.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's what we're going to find from talking to both of you today.
So what happened afterwards, after we've pitched that to Adam, Daddy gave us the okay, but he didn't give us the tools at all. So he just said, yeah, you have your day jobs, so maybe on your night shift you can do Gwent.
Yeah. So Gwent was very much on the side, and the studio was obviously a lot smaller then, so it was kind of your own side project.
Yeah, and the thing was that, we needed help. Like, we couldn't do it ourselves, obviously, neither me or Damien are artists, so we couldn't do artwork for it and things like that. So what happened for us, we tried to bait people. We tried to bait people in a way
Lure
that,
them in.
yeah, we had a corridor, and on the corridor we would kind of mock up the game to lure specific people in a way that, oh, I'm playing this cool new concept that we're thinking to have in Witcher 3. It's called Gwent. Look how much fun I'm having.
Yeah.
Somehow people fell for that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm a good actor. What can I say?
It's a good trap.
Yeah, and so we tried to trap certain people that we needed.
Strategic people.
Yeah, that we needed for the project to progress. And there was Travis going by, and he's like, "Oh, this game," and he's like, "Oh, what's that?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." And he's like, "Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, you're going to help us make it happen." and obviously, as things progressed, more people came on board, and more people actually invested the time to make Gwent a reality, because normally, honestly speaking, this shouldn't happen, right? This is something so outside of the scope of everything that we were doing, even though we were already over scoped 150%, that this shouldn't happen, but it did. And gladly, I think the most rewarding thing I still remember from a week after Witcher 3 was released. We got one of the reviews said, when they had like the plus minuses side, what was cool about the game, what wasn't cool. One of the cool things was Gwent, and I was like, yes.
Yeah, I think that's something that you can still see, to this day when you read about, The Witcher 3 online. Lots of people discuss how The Witcher 3 is a wonderful card game with a side, experience of an RPG.
RPG,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be actually reversed for the single player content for Gwent, because we will have a card game that has a small RPG inside of it.
Yeah.
That's what people always wanted, right?
Yeah. So
It was crazy that the emails, when they started after the premiere of The Witcher 3, it just never stopped, and there was more and more coming in, and it was good because it was ammunition for you to kind of show to everybody of the board members, like, hello, check this out, everybody likes it, so what are we doing it now?
Yeah,
right?
it was actually quite easy, to be very honest, because there's so many positive things that people told about Gwent, and I already with Damien thought, like, what would happen if this was standalone-ish, kind of?
Right from the beginning.
Yeah, because, we played Gwent, for example, with humans, right?
Yeah.
The prototypes was like human versus human. Obviously, we catered that to a single-player experience, which is a different set of...
We'll talk about
Gonna
it.
eat that?
Nope.
Thought so.
Enjoy.
Oh my God. can I move now? Okay.
Yeah, I have breadcrumbs on me. Like,
I hope it's not in my water. No.
Okay.
So, Borja, you were obviously on the forefront of the community, so you definitely
Yeah.
saw this response right from the beginning.
yeah, it was so overwhelming and so positive that, but it happened every day. I would like get to work in the morning, open my email box, and Gwent. It's like, ooh, I made a version of Gwent. Ooh, why don't you make it a standalone? And I was like talking with Rafa, and he got the same types of emails. So we were like, okay, good. So this is the direction we should be going.
And then, like, I think 3 weeks after the release of Witcher 3, I made a presentation to the board saying, like, this is what I think is happening in terms of like how people react and if it's cool or not.
Guess it was relatively easy to convince them then.
Yeah, I just made like thousands of emails for.
Yeah.
And then they said yes, and we had a small group, and from that point it just grew, and now it's like, I don't know, 100 people more. I don't know. It's so big. They took over half of the ground floor.
Yeah.
So
taking over the floor, all the space.
Yeah.
So from that point, we started working on it, and
Yeah, one thing I found was really interesting looking around the studio is that most of the room dedicated to Gwent here is for artists in particular.
Yeah.
And I think that's a massive feature which people really love about Gwent is the attention to detail with all the artwork.
That's one of the things that needed to be changed, right? When we were making the standalone version, the development that needed to be happening there was incredible.
So why don't we talk to you about that, David? So how did you go from this concept, which was a mini game within a larger RPG, and then how did you go about making that into a competitive multiplayer experience?
So I think the biggest two challenges were for us the fact that one, there were a lot of things that people loved about Gwent, and we needed to keep those, right? And the second thing is that Gwent was very fine-tuned to be sort of like a very progressive single-player experience, right? And there were lots of things that really don't work in multiplayer design space. I mean, as you said, we were talking before, and you said you could have, 30 gold cards in your deck, right? Back then.
Yeah.
and in the end that was fine because you were supposed to go to that goal that you're the ultimate Gwent player and you can beat anything with those decks, right?
Yeah.
But here in multiplayer, that just
Doesn't
doesn't
work.
work,
Yeah.
right?
Obviously, it's something that we needed to change. So basically, what we did was we distilled the core of what Gwent was, right? We knew that we wanted the leaders in. We knew that we wanted the rows. We loved the fact that you play one card every round. It's still simple. We love the fact that there's a lot of planning that goes along, and there's that little bit of bluffing, right? These very core concepts, and we took those, put them in a new sort of shell, which is going to be this new multiplayer sort of thing, and then started over with completely new everything from them, right?
So you pretty much started from the ground up. So
Yes.
it's quite interesting that all the cards which are in the Gwent now, none of them are, the artwork which we saw from previous
not the
iterations.
artwork. Some of the names remained because they were iconic and
Some
people
of the
loved them,
units
right?
are still there, although they
Yes.
look
Yes.
a little bit different. They have a different mechanic, but they're still there. So you have the association with Gwent from The Witcher 3,
And
which is
some of
really
them
cool.
are reminiscent of what their ability used to be
Exactly.
back then. Of
Yeah,
course,
definitely.
fine-tuned and tweaked to what it is now that it needs to be, right? And I mean, one thing, for instance, is that every card has its own ability, and every card is meant to be useful in some sort of way, right? In Gwent, in the original Gwent, there were cards that were just strictly worse than other cards.
Yeah,
in
because
there.
you were supposed to replace them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But even maybe that doesn't show the budget, but we had certain restraints. That was a mini game, and for example, we had all the leaders. Before there was just one guy with different variations of that guy because we
Yeah, of
just
course, yeah.
right. There was only Foltest, and Foltest was Northern Realms, and that was it. You had 3 Foltests, and that's it. And now obviously you have different leaders. All of them are very unique, and you cater to them in a very different specific way. So yeah,
They kind
even,
of dictate the archetype.
yeah,
Yeah,
but even though I think that the spirit and the heart is still there, but it needed to change dramatically.
The challenges that we had were basically us trying to maintain the core and the spirit and the real things that we all loved and set it up in this new experience. And I think so far we've been doing a real good job. I mean, everyone who plays it still feels that they're playing Gwent, but it's so different.
I think we've seen lots of these changes going from the closed beta into the public beta already. We've seen massive changes to things such as weather, which used to be row locked, and these things have changed, as well as lots of other abilities such as the faction passives and things like this, them being completely overhauled. But I think it's nice to see that CD Projekt aren't scared to tackle some of these things which kind of were kind of linchpins in the game, and then you've decided to completely overhaul them, for the overall health of the game and for the long term. It's a much better place for things.
Totally agree. I mean, In reality, for a designer, that's not really the easiest thing to do when you have something that you know worked before and now you need to kind of sort of embrace it or else rework it and let go of what now doesn't work. And letting go is not the easiest thing to do, and coming up with something new that replaces it and feels the same way is always a difficult process, but it's really important for us, and we take it really seriously that we remain sort of focused on making it the best it can be, and if there's something that doesn't work, then it goes, and we will move along to help the game grow, right? This is our main reason why we're doing all of this. We want to make Gwent a beautiful big game.
And don't get us wrong. It's there will be mistakes along the way,
Of course.
but the purpose of this is just make sure that you cannot predict everything.
Especially that you give it to tens of thousands of
Tens of
people
thousands. Yeah,
who are
definitely.
just playing
This
it
is-
and doing different interactions,
But
different combos, different things.
but at the end, it's hugely important that if we know that something doesn't work, that that decision wasn't right because we didn't think of something, we go forward. We say, guys, we're sorry. We're moving on. This is what we wanted to do, because for us, the strive to make the best possible game that we can in Gwent is real. Like, everybody on the team really wants to make the best possible game they can.
This is what you mentioned before, the iterative process, right? This is the trying something out. If it works, no. If it doesn't, we do it again. And this is why we have, as we said, all of these this long period of beta testing, especially because in a multiplayer game you have a situation where you have the players who are a completely unpredictable third sort of wheel within the mechanics of the game. And this is why it's so important to have longer periods of testing where you try all the different things. Oh,
Why me? Why not him? He's changing everything.
But as I said, it's important for the game.
Yeah, I think everybody appreciates the healthy outlook you have towards game development, and that you're not afraid to tackle things which might seem intimidating, because they're so entrenched in the game. But I think for the greater good and the long-term health of the game, then it's definitely better to try these new things.
We never want to remove things that are good and fun. We just try to make sure that the things that are unfun and actually unfair are removed.
I think I've heard this been mentioned before, actually, with certain cards which people were kind of up in arms with, in particular the Vicavaro novices, who are a very interesting card, but lots of people had qualms about them. But I noticed you guys kept them in the game because you said they added an aspect of fun into the game.
Fun is important.
Which is, I guess it's all a matter of perspective, whether you are playing Nilfgaard or you're playing against them.
It's also
Ash, don't get me wrong. It's just for the Empire. It's fine.
it's also quite difficult because we receive a lot of feedback, and the feedback I pass it on to the guys, and they have to kind of balance it out. Like, kind of think, okay, if this is a good idea, or if we should change something, we should go this way, or we should maybe do something totally different. So it's a lot harder for you guys, right?
Yeah, we have to filter through.
Yeah.
I mean, you already do your own filtering,
Yeah.
right? And then you send us the stuff, and then we need to read through that. And you do get a lot of different opinions, of course, and it's really important to, as we said, remain focused on what the real goal is.
This is Adalbert Wunsch. Adalbert is a perennial student in the outcome science of alchemy. Here we see Adalbert in his natural habitat, the dark void of ignorance, and in his natural state, agitation and wonderment at the discovery of things obvious.
Evolution, that is the thing. Formation, then transformation. They are life's core. Evolution is change, transfiguration in time. Evolution is truth, for truth resides in the contention. In that paradox that the one thing constant is change. Change in time is history. History is what we know of what we were and what we wish to discard or retain, while inevitably, consciously, unconsciously vectoring forth into the unknown. And what might seem an error, poppycock, could prove a milestone. Thus are wonders forged.
Yeah, of
crazy.
course,
All
we've
the
got now
premium.
all cards are premium, which is
Yeah.
incredible. And I'm sure we'll be talking more about that process in another episode because
yeah,
it's
sure.
very
Yeah, yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
We'll be talking about community created content, and we'll try to do this for every episode. What's most important is I want to encourage you to send all of your awesome work. And it can be anything. It can be videos, it can be fan art, it can be cosplay, whatever you want. The crazier, the better. I read it all, I answer all these emails, so keep on coming. All right, let's start with the first one. You guys will be also able to see it, so we can talk about it all together. So it's the Gwent, I mean the Gwent characters, the Witcher characters playing Gwent. Yeah, and they're losing clothes.
Oh, that looks familiar. That's Tuesday nights at the office every time. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't I get invited into those?
Because
Well,
you
you
always
can-
lose. So.
Yeah, you can answer yourself to that question. We don't want to meddle. It's fine. It's fine.
This art is by Valentin Tjusten. Yeah, so you see them all playing, and we have, of course, Dandelion, who's super, like, chillax.
Dandelion.
That's me, yes. Be respectful with my name. You are in my house, remember that.
Okay. Fine.
I remember the first time I saw this picture, I titled it "When You Lose 500 MMR in a Single Sitting." Let's just stick by that.
Yeah, I think, Triss is in that spot.
Yeah, Triss isn't doing too well.
Yeah. Moving on to the second one, by Daria Savtruk. You see Philippa and you see Triss and Yen, and they are all blindfolded to even out the odds. Exactly.
Fairness.
Yeah, lore trivia.
Lore trivia.
In this, it's not
From that fancy-looking gentleman over there.
Don't pay attention to this.
Yeah. Of course, from Dandelion.
But anyway,
But anyway.
yeah. Philippa can turn into an owl.
Yes.
Yen can turn into a crow, but Triss can only turn to a very clingy woman.
Like I put that, yeah, and they're all taking a nice
Team
nice
Yen.
selfie. Team
Oh
Yen,
no!
of
Don't
course, Team
start
Yen.
this
Yeah,
Team
yeah.
Triss and Team Yen debate.
Yeah, it's gonna happen sooner or later. So we just might just throw it out there.
Yeah,
We have
the uncivil wars.
Maybe
Yeah,
we
yeah,
could
yeah.
have
on.
we could have a new Gwent challenge in the future, and people could pick Team Triss or Team Yen, and the community could do battle.
Oh, that'd be cool. That's something we need to think about. Rafał,
I'm
that is
always-
something we need to
Well,
think
if
about.
I have to choose, I can choose
Team
you know,
Ylvith.
No, Team
Always,
Roach. Team
Skoyatel.
Roach. Team Roach.
Jim Roach. Moving on, we have again Dandelion, but this time he's gonna lose his head pretty much because I think we have Zoltan and Geralt, and they're trying to get him back from the commando Skoyatel, and it doesn't look too good because Geralt has 3 fogs on his head.
Yep.
And I think that's pre-Mulligan Gwent.
That's pre-Mulligan for
Either
sure.
that or
Very
Yeah.
unlucky.
Very,
Geralt is either really unlucky or really unskilled at this point.
Yeah.
Although there you can see what a facepalm looks like in the Witcher universe. There.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this one's by Katerina Grusovskaya. What's also interesting, all these arts are actually from an art contest that we did with the Russian community on VK. Yeah, yeah.
But there's going to be lots of similar contests in the
Yeah,
future.
we want
for
to do more in the
worldwide.
future because, I mean, the amount of fan art that we got is super overwhelming, super cool, and yeah, we want to continue this for sure. Moving on to a really cool one by Nikki Vashi. This one is Geralt with typical monster players. So you have a kind of like a Halloween theme to it, and you have a jack-o'-lantern guy, you have a Noonwraith. Noonwraith kind of missing in Gwent at the moment, David.
At the moment.
And Elysian.
And I'm pretty sure he went first there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Geralt doesn't mind. He's gonna probably defeat them. Yeah.
He can beat the fog. He had all 3 cards.
Care
in
for, a
the
game
previous
of, care for a game of Gwent, that's the only thing that is on his mind.
Yeah, and silent nod to it. All right, and the last one is actually, we're showing one piece, but these are faction arts that we were working with Polpas 1988.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, the attention to detail in every single one of the characters in these faction arts is incredible.
small details for people that really know the
Yeah,
books
if
and
you're
they
into the
care
lore
about
and
the lore.
stuff, yeah.
Is, there is Kahir, and he's no Nilfgaardian.
No Nilfgaardian.
So he, has
with
the
his big
helmet,
wind
but he's
helmet.
also flipped. So
Standing back.
Standing back. So he is not part of that faction. even
Yeah,
though he is
but it
not actually-
speaks volumes
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
So it's really amazing, and we're She also did our Witcher stickers for iOS. So if you want to have Witcher stickers, you just type Witcher stickers into your iOS device, and you can have Witcher stickers. So
Yes,
those are
I've
cool.
seen those recently.
Those are really cool as well. So yeah, we're super happy to have her because we really love working with people that care about us, our lore, and care about the community. And she is amazing.
It's actually really cool to have community members transition and be part of our team and help us create really cool stuff. And of course, if you have awesome creations and fan art, be sure to send it to fanart@cdprojektred.com. We want you to send your best plays and your best misplays to us, and we'll judge them. We'll give out prizes for sure. But what's most important is we want to see your reaction when you do like an awesome play or you get totally scorched by someone and you're super unhappy. We want to see all of that. And you can send it to us by going to playgwent.com/POTM play of the month. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
The only thing we ask is no swearing and no damaging your hardware in the process, please.
Although, like, you know, tilting.
A good table flip.
Table flip is always good, right? I mean, we get that. Everybody's been there. Yeah.
It's totally fine.
Yeah.
Totally scorched. That's going to be a new.
Totally scorched.
I got totally scorched.
Totally scorched.
Definitely check that out if you're interested in getting involved with the community and maybe winning some awesome prizes. But I think that's all we've got time for today. So thank you to our guests for giving us a bit of an insight into the world of Gwent creation. And thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and stay around for more regular Round of Gwent videos coming soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Occasionally, Adalbert emerges from his void. This usually involves him making a terrible mess and, well, spewing more rubbish.
As with any start, we concern ourselves today with creation. Origins of the known, formation, conception, invention, inevitably issuing from the urge to destroy. Yes, destruction, it must precede creation. Creation demands it. For only from bedlam and dark confusion can come light and the new. From turmoil and chaos, in hearth, womb, in bath. Do not delay. Get to it as I will at once. And yes, I create in this crate.